Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot and the inaugural Quality Shot Tennis Awards of 2021. And we've got two special guests, Stephen and Gill. Stephen from The Slice and Gill Gross from Monday Match Analysis. And of course, Venu as always as well. How you all doing?
Fantastic.
All good. Ready to go.
Likewise. Ready.
Cool. Let's get straight into it then. So for those who don't know, we're going to be going through the ATP categories first. I'll timestamp it after this video as well, so you guys will have it when you're watching, and same with the WTA. And then we'll go through, which I'm sure is the most, I guess, the best award, I guess you could potentially give out, which is Best Player of the Year, either WTA or ATP, which is a combined award. So there's a few awards, 9, I think, awards for each. Some of them will be pretty straightforward. I'm sure some will have some discussion around them. But yeah, let's dive in. Grand Slam Match of the Year. Stephen, what have you got for that?
Grand Slam Match of the Year. It's a tough one because, there's different levels to like match year, right? Like I think maybe the most insane match I watched was Alcaraz beating Tsitsipas. As far as like entertainment level, like coming of age for someone who I think we'd all agree could be a massive, massive star. Both of them are massive stars. But I mean, yeah, the Grand Slam finals, like Djokovic winning the French Open, that final, you could argue for that. Great, like his second French Open. So I'm just going to go with Alcaraz beating Tsitsipas because in my opinion, that was my favorite match of the year. Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Gil, what's your thoughts?
Are we doing men's or
men's
combined?
ATP.
Okay, men's. That's what I thought. Okay. It's for me. It's Nadal Djokovic in the semifinals in Paris. That match has been somewhat scrutinized as like a match of the year, and I get it. It was only really good for 3 sets. Rafa didn't have anything left in the fourth, and generally we think epic matches. We think, well, you need usually 5 good sets for a match of the year, if not 4, and this one only had 3. But the level that was reached in the third set especially, which is one of the best sets I've ever seen, and the magnitude of the match and what ended up happening. I still think it's match of the year. Was it a great year for epic matches in Grand Slams? Honestly, not. To me, this one was the best.
No, that's fair. Interesting. Venu, what about you?
I always like a comeback. The 5 sets of this one. It's the Australian Open third round by Dominic Thiem. Came back from 2 sets down against Nick Kyrgios. And that was a really good match. And I'm always a fan of Thiem's one-handed backhand as well. But the fact that he came 2 sets of love down to win that game, I thought that was a fantastic comeback. So
Yeah,
comeback of the year, I would say.
Comeback of the year. Okay, fair enough. That's not one of the awards, so you can give that if you want to that one.
Fair enough. But just quickly on that, Venu, that's a match, and Gill, I think I agree with Gill. Like that was probably the highest level tennis we saw throughout the year was in that match, Djokovic versus Nadal, for that shorter period of time, like you said.
Yeah.
And Venu, we did a poll on this on the Slice where I included the team Kyrgios match just because I thought the theater of that match was unmatched. Like it was like Kyrgios was like a gladiator being brought in by the crowd to like face Thiem, who was honestly set up to have arguably one of the best years of his career. Could have maybe dominated, ended up not and getting injured, etc. But that match was insane, and yeah, Thiem having to come back and hitting it like winner backhand up the line to win, and just like kind of like pointing at the crowd. It was like I was so amped. That was my probably favorite match of the year, but I think match of the year was probably what Gill said.
Yeah, I was going to say I think the most dramatic was potentially that. Although since past Alcaraz, I was definitely on the edge of my seat, but there might be a bit of recency bias having watched that more recently. But yeah, the Kyrgios Thiem one was nuts. I mean, I remember he obviously loves the crowd. Especially in Australia. And I thought it was just dramatic, to say the least.
The round before was pretty great as well. Kyrgios went 5 sets with Humbert, and that was an awesome match.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah, exactly. He just dug deep after hardly training at all before that. So, yeah, typical Kyrgios. I've got a left field suggestion. I'm going to chuck it in there as a grenade, but I feel like it won't stick. Is Korda Khachanov in the round of 16 at Wimbledon. Something that ended 10-8. Everyone's like,
I don't know. Greatest match or
wait,
like
was
hardest
that
to watch?
that was
long?
the fifth set that nobody could hold serve?
Exactly, yeah. Mainly just for the drama and maybe that's funniest moment. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've got two of you saying Nadal Djokovic semi-final, Roland Garros. I'm happy to go with that. Venu, are you guys happy with that as well? Are you sticking with that?
I'm happy. I'd change my vote to what Gill said.
Nice, very good, cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't disagree with the quality. It was definitely the best match of the year in terms of quality, I thought, in the Grand Slam. So that was something to behold. And as a Nadal fan, I maybe shed a tear, but it was great quality nonetheless. But very, very good match. I guess that leads us on to ATP Match of the Year. So obviously, for those watching, includes ATP Finals, Masters, 1000s, 500s, 250s, 125s if you want as well. But I'm assuming they'll probably be more high level than that. Stephen, do you want to go first?
Man, so I'm coming on this shooting off the hip just off of memory, and I feel there's a lot. To me, it's a tie between Djokovic, Medvedev, Paris final. This is probably recency bias as well, and Djokovic, Zverev, ATP Finals semifinal. I thought both of those matches were incredibly high quality from both players, tight, and the tactics that, especially in the Paris final that Djokovic put into play that to beat Medvedev were pretty cool to watch. And then I thought Zverev played pretty special to beat Djokovic in the ATP Finals. So I can't really decide. If I had to say one, I'd probably say the Paris final just because it was a final and it was the two best players in the world. And
Yeah, I'm gonna go pretty. I'll jump in actually just because I feel like maybe none of you have put this potentially, but Djokovic Zverev Olympic semi-final. So obviously that was
counted.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, well,
That's not an
technically
ATP match.
It's not an ATP match.
It's got its own category of Olympic matches.
on,
Fair enough. Call me up on my rules. Fair enough. Okay, fine. We won't include it. I just thought it was so good. It has to be included somewhere. But
Yeah, it's true. It was so good.
Well, then a notable mention then for that, obviously, that was I think that was the only time Djokovic was a setup, went on to lose a match the whole year, if I'm not mistaken. So as in he took the first set and then went on to lose. So it was, obviously Zverev was a set and a break down and then went on to win that in pretty dramatic fashion. But I've also got here Nadal Tsitsipas Barcelona final. I thought that was really high quality.
Oh yeah.
Venu, what do you think? And then we'll go to Gill last.
I've gone for like a left field option. I've gone for the Italian Open round of 16 where Denis Shapovalov made a really good fight against Rafa Nadal.
Yeah,
and Nadal really had to come back there. He so Shapovalov, how do you pronounce it?
Just say Chapo. It's fine.
Chapo. He came out of the blocks, won the first set, and then Nadal had to really play his best tennis to overcome him. But there was some really good tennis, and I just thought that was a great game to watch.
Fair enough. Gill?
Nadal played so many incredible matches, probably to his dismay over the course of the clay court season. Rublev and one of my candidates would definitely be the final he played in Barcelona against Tsitsipas. That was like 3 hours, 42 minutes. But quality-wise, my favorite match was Djokovic-Tsitsipas in the Rome semifinal. I felt that one had the dramatic twists and turns. It went deep into a third set, and I felt like both players were at their A+ throughout that match. So, okay, so we've all come with different answers. Fantastic.
So Stephen, are you happy to stick with yours? Do you have any? Have any of these matches sounded good or?
They're all good. It's one of those things other guys bring it up and I remember how good they were. Yeah. I don't know. It's probably his recency bias, but I'm sticking with Paris final. I thought it was great. And usually you don't get, like, the end of the season is kind of boring, but I thought it was pretty awesome this year just because I feel like those three guys really got pretty high level on the indoor fast courts. Like, I just thought all three of their levels were pretty sweet.
Yeah. Rennie, any changes of heart? We're happy to stick with yours.
I'm sticking with mine.
We'll give it to Nadal Tsitsipas only because I mentioned it and Gill mentioned it as well. So I feel like that's the only one that's been mentioned twice.
I didn't realize there needs to be almost like an official winner here. Like,
yeah, of course.
The quality shot announces the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
People are waiting
course.
for it. They're waiting for it to hear about it.
Exactly. You'll see it on Tennis Channel, Gill. It'll be announced.
The
It'll be
official
in the
results.
break.
It'll be like breaking
Yeah.
news.
Breaking news. Exactly. And the next one's most exciting tournament of the year. So that can be Grand Slam or ATP. So whatever you fancy.
This one should
Gil,
be
I don't
quick.
think. Really? Okay, Gil.
should?
You can go first. I don't think you should. Well, I don't know. Go on, Gil. What's your pick?
Most exciting
Well,
tournament.
I honestly, I've kept 2 categories blank out of all of them, and this is one of them. I couldn't decide. I mean, the French was amazing. The final weekend of it was amazing. So, I mean, I'm gonna go with that tentatively, but I would say I'm open to other answers.
Stephen, you seem very, very determined. What's your answer?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Gill was at the U.S. Open in person, and I just thought that tournament was from start to finish full crowd. The only thing, the French Open was great. There were some amazing matches. The only thing is, like, you're watching Federer beat whoever he played, the guy who's freaking out. Forget his name, German guy.
Kopfer.
With no crowd. It's like, that's just such a buzzkill to me. Like, as far as like an entertaining tournament, but the U.S. Open, I've heard, like, we heard everyone talk about it, start to finish. Every match, it seemed, men and women's, was like, there's so many epic matches. And then maybe it's biased because I'm Canadian, but like the run to the finals of Leilani Fernandez, or is this just men's right now?
Just men's, yeah.
Okay, shit. Anyway, still Medvedev beating Djokovic in the final. Like, the excitement of Djokovic going round by round by round, losing the first set, coming back to win it. 1 match left to get, history, biggest history we probably any of us would see in tennis. Didn't happen, but it was just like, I thought the excitement there was next level. So that's mine for me.
Okay.
Let me just say, I agree. I just felt like the men almost got overshadowed by the awesomeness of the women throughout that tournament. And I think kind of everyone felt that way. And that's why I wasn't really ready to like put that on the men's side.
Fair enough.
To be fair, I had Roland Garros as well, just because I thought the 2 semis, so obviously it was Nadal Djokovic, which we gave the match of the year. And then also Tsitsipas Zverev in the other semi was pretty dramatic, as I went to 5. That was like a war of attrition. And then Tsitsipas being 2 sets to love up. And then some people might say choking, but either way, Djokovic coming back in pretty like scintillating fashion. But I'm happy to go to the US Open. I thought that was a really good event as well. And to be fair, you had Djokovic Zverev in the semis. That was a pretty good match. A bit disappointing for parts, but probably that last set from Zverev. But he did okay. Vinny, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought the US Open was great, and I think I think we need to do it. If we would do a combined between women's and men's, US Open probably get it. But I put French Open. The quality of tennis in the French was phenomenal in the men's side, especially as you were saying, the last weekend was great. Some of the tennis was unbelievable.
Okay, let's go to the US Open because I feel like Stephen and Gill and I'm happy to split either way, so that's fine. Yeah, US Open it is. Yeah,
I thought Gill was saying French Open, but yeah, fair enough.
Oh, did he? Did he? Yeah. Oh, did he not? Did he not change it? Oh no, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I was saying for the women, if you combine it, I agree.
Oh, okay, fine.
I think the US Open should get it for the women to skip ahead. And
I see.
Maybe,
okay,
maybe
fine.
Okay.
Sorry, Stephen. Roland Garros then.
It's all good.
Sorry?
We're not doing combined men and women's best Grand Slam, are we?
No.
Going to be the US Open, surely.
Yeah.
We can decide maybe when we get to women's.
I think the women's will probably be the US Open, but
yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone's not saying. They have it. They have a bomb to drop a little bit later on.
Yeah, Roland Garros 2021 it is then most exciting tournament of the year. Apologies for those who got trigger happy with the US Open. Upset of the year then. So what do we think? So this is all of the tournaments, including the Olympics, including ATP, including Grand Slams. Everything.
What does this have to include? Like, I would love to do a little, just quickly. I know we can't spend a million minutes on each one of these. Does upset mean like highest ranking difference or like most influential upset? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you guys know where I'm going here. Is like, there was one match where the guys were basically the same level, but it was a massive upset. You can't define
it though, right? Doesn't that take the fun away? If you define it, then there's like an answer, right?
Yeah. Then there's like a mathematical answer. Yeah, I guess you're right. But.
Up for interpretation. Vinny, do you want to go first? Go on.
Has to be Medvedev overcoming Djokovic in the US Open final.
Okay.
See, this is where it's going to get very contentious.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It will, because I don't know. I don't know. Well, I wasn't shocked enough at that, I guess, for me to pick that. And that was very important, but I wasn't surprised enough. Except, maybe the fact that it was straight sets and so decisive. I have Alcaraz over Tsitsipas, but I do want to give a shout out to the Davis Cup victory by I have it written down so I can find it, but over Diego Schwartzman. Nobody watched this match. So I don't think it can win because nobody was watching. However, from an odds perspective, if that's how we're doing this, Steven, that was one of the biggest upsets in sports history. So I want to give a shout out.
That's true.
Okay. Steven?
I'm gonna say Holger Rune beating Benoit Paire. I'm just kidding. Benoit Paire. I'm like 99% sure. Don't tell Holger I said this because he is a friend of the show. But I think Paire threw that match for him. But anyways, not really a shocking thing to say. I don't think.
No.
I would have to say Karatsev beating Djokovic in Serbia.
Belgrade, yeah.
I watched that match a lot, and I thought the level was crazy. Djokovic obviously wanted to win. It's his home tournament. He had to come back a second time to Belgrade to win the tournament. And the way that Karatsev, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he saved 24 break points or something against Djokovic in that match, like in a 3-set match. Like that has got to be the most break points that Djokovic has not converted on. That's like a Federer stat right there. So it's like it was. And it wasn't like he was just saving them because Djokovic choked. Like Karatsev would hit an unforced error, be break point, and then he'd hit a preposterous up the line backhand or like screaming winner on the line. And Djokovic he just couldn't do it. And it was a 250 on clay in Serbia. No one really cared, but Djokovic cared, obviously.
Yeah, Djokovic cared. Yeah.
And I thought that was a match. And even though Karatsev was fully on the scene, he was going through a lull. I think at that point of like not really doing anything. And it was a in my eyes, pretty shocking upset, even though I did put money on Karatsev to win, and it came through. Anyways,
I feel like that's why it's so clear in your memory. The money won.
Well, that's pretty crazy. I feel like that's pretty crazy.
Daniil Ostapenkov, by the way, Daniil Ostapenkov is the name. He is. He still does not have an ATP point. He has no points.
He wins upset of that. No, joking. Joking. I've got a couple here. Just want to get your thoughts on it. I'm going to keep on bringing this up just because I thought it was so crazy. The Djokovic Zverev Olympic semi-final. I'm just going to keep on bringing it up. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to keep on chucking at you guys until you statistics.
That one's fair because if you look at halfway through that match, Zverev being down a break, I woke up middle of the night to watch it, and I almost just went right back to sleep because I literally tuned in right as he got broken. I was like, this is over. And then I kept watching. And what I saw after that was the most surprising thing I've seen all year.
Yeah, I did the live stream for it.
Zverev would be offended, though, right? If you said
he would be, yeah.
If you said Sasha, you win upset of the year, he'd be like, "F you."
Yeah, but you know what? He gets offended so easily, anyway. So just like, I asked him one thing in press, and he got like kind of triggered by it. I was like, "Okay, bro, you know what I'm trying to say, but whatever."
To be fair, I think it's more the fact that the position he came from,
That's what I mean. Yes,
rather than winning, right? That's the thing. And as I said, I think that was the only match. I could be wrong, but. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think it was the only match. He won the first set and then ended up going to lose the overall match. And then I've got here Hakac versus Federer. One for you, Stephen, Wimbledon quarterfinals. I mean, I think that was pretty surprising, the fact they lost in straight sets and then got bageled in the last set. I mean, I didn't think he played quite well against Medvedev. It was a pretty good comeback there as well, but I thought he'd be a bit tired. Federer kind of blitzed through Norrie. I think the occasion got to Norrie a little bit, but I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting that, to be fair.
From an insider's perspective in the Federer camp, I don't think that was a huge upset. Like, really, if we were being clear-eyed going into that match, like looking back on it, you're like, oh, Federer got to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon on one knee because he got surgery immediately after. Like, so, and like we knew he wasn't moving right in that tournament. Obviously, we were all getting excited, being like, oh, he's gonna play Djokovic again in the final for some reason, thinking that he'd have a chance. So I expected it coming, and I knew Hurkacz was extremely dangerous, and he's like, in my eyes, like a top 7 player this year. So I don't know. And Federer's 38 years old with 2 fake knees. So to me, it wasn't a huge upset.
Okay, fair enough. Vinny, what's your final answer? Or pick?
I thought I already given mine, haven't I?
Yeah, but has it changed at all? That is the question.
Hasn't.
No, not convincing enough. Gill.
Yeah, Alcaraz over Tsitsipas still my choice.
Okay. And Steven, yours?
I'm staying with Karatsev over Djokovic.
Oh, damn
We're
you
having a
guys.
split jury here today on this one.
Vinny, what did you put? What did you say again?
But the US Open final, Medvedev
Okay.
beating Djokovic.
Faizan, you gotta you're like you gotta make like an executive order on this one.
Yeah, it's the judge with the
You're the
gavel
judge.
read. I should have brought that. Yeah, I'll go with you, Venu. Mainly because we both live streamed it, and I think I pretty much walked off the live stream whilst when Medvedev won, just in that much shock. And Venu was like, "Okay, he'll be back." I think he's just a bit surprised, but I literally just walked off for 5 minutes to just contemplate what happened. So I'll give it to that mainly because of my reaction. But yeah, all of them pretty damn
And the
good
fact
ones.
that it was done in 3 sets, and Djokovic just
I think it was
didn't
that.
turn up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
I think it was that.
if we had to get a verdict passed today on this thing, I would put my vote to that with Vanu. I just had lost all belief in the next generation big guys like Zverev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas to be able to get it done versus Djokovic in a final, just because of the experience, skill, clutch factor gap between them. So the fact that Medvedev was able to do it in 3 sets, not get broken in that second set when Djokovic really was pressing and it could have easily turned the match around, and closing it out like he did, that was a massive surprise to me. And yeah,
agreed.
So I'd throw my lot in there with Vanu if we had to get an answer, but
the nature of the win, I think. Gill, okay, let's go on to the next one then. I think so Djokovic, Medvedev, US Open final. Although I know Gill wasn't surprised because I think you picked Medvedev, but I think did you change it last minute?
Before the tournament, I said Medvedev over Djokovic in the final, and before the match, I changed it.
He looks so happy about it as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right.
I've done that twice. You guys want to know the last time I did it before
Yep.
the US Open? It was in 2019. I picked Djokovic to win the Australian Open, and Nadal had smoked everyone so badly and looked so crazy good. I changed my pick. Djokovic wins in straight sets. So both times I've changed my pick, it has been a terrible decision.
Yeah, as an Nadal fan,
I think I did the same thing in 2019 at that tournament, but I can't remember. Sure, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, unfortunately, as a Nadal fan, against Federer or Djokovic on anything but clay, he hasn't had much success recently, to be fair, unfortunately. Funniest moment of the year then. Gil, we'll go with you first. What's your funniest moment of the year?
Yeah, it was in a challenger event, and there was a sitter for Thanasi Kokkinakis to put away, and he approached the net. He tripped over his own leg. He fell straight on his face, and to me, I mean, you need video really, but that was the funniest moment of the year for me. I laughed very hard.
That's hilarious.
Fair enough. Benny?
I think it has to be Andy Murray getting angry at Stefano Tsitsipas for going for a toilet break.
Controversial.
That was so funny. And Andy Murray was the umpire. This guy's taking 20 minutes. He was saying, "I don't take 20 minutes to go to the toilet," and I found that quite funny actually.
But the tweet after Elon Musk and Tsitsipas was quite funny. I thought that was going into space. I forgot the exact wording, but it was interesting to say the least. Stephen, what about you?
I'd say the Medvedev Bublik moment in Toronto when the umpire intervened, and then Medvedev just did his classic one-line take. He's like, "This is gonna be on tennis TV, bro," and Bublik was just laughing because he probably didn't care, and it was just it was hilarious how if there was any 2 guys that jumping in the middle of a point like that was a bad move, it was probably those 2 guys, and the ump kind of got exposed, but that was just funny all around.
I've got one of them was Fucsovic and Rublev, and I think it was after a string of losses to Rublev. Fucsovic just went up to the net and said, I don't know exactly the words that he said, but he said something like something along the lines of "Can you stop beating me?" In paraphrasing, and kind of laughed it off. And Rublev just was sheepishly a bit of a smile, and he was getting absolutely destroyed. I think he got his own back later in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
At Wimbledon.
At Wimbledon, yeah, I was going to say it was Wimbledon, wasn't it? Yeah, which was a really good win, to be fair. So fair play. But I've also got Medvedev doing the fish, the FIFA celebration. at the end of winning the US Open. That was hilarious.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
How's
Doesn't
that
it like
funny?
disturb you almost that he did that? Like, I love it because Medvedev's unique and he's hilarious. But then you look back at like all of the highlights when they show like all of Djokovic's final wins, all Federer's, and they're all like crying and like falling to their knees. It's like the biggest thing that's ever happened to them, and Medvedev like flops on the ground
Classic Medvedev.
in one of the biggest finals ever like played. Like too. Like it wasn't just like
I know.
a random 2014 US Open. It was like
It's so
big
true.
one.
Yeah. But what were you going to say? Were you going to say something?
I didn't find that particularly funny from Medvedev. I find it like, that's really weird.
but he's like, go down on your knees in the traditional way and cry.
And he's like, "Kneel, you peasant."
Yeah, exactly. That's his. Okay, so we've got Gill saying about Kokanis falling on his face, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Steven-
I'll change mine because for the purpose of the podcast, and the fact that probably maybe 10% of people know what I'm referring to. I agree. The Medvedev Bublik situation was funny. Sometimes I feel bad for umpires. I mean, Medvedev is absolutely lethal to them sometimes. But in this case, I do think that was pretty funny.
Okay, let's go with that. Then. Yeah, I think he was. He is savage. I think Daniil Medvedev, but a good character nonetheless. Good for the game. Right. Okay. On to an interesting one then. Most improved player of the year. Venu, do you want to go first? Who have you got?
It was really close between Casper Ruud and Karatsev. I'll go for Karatsev. The fact that he at the start of the year he was ranked 112 in ATP rankings at the start of the season. Now in November he's number 15. So it has to go to Karatsev.
Okay, fair enough. Gill?
This is the toughest award, and I think the strongest year of most improved player that I can remember, because there are three great candidates. We'll see if we get to the third, but I'm going to give mine. It's Cam Norrie. Karatsev, he didn't have a great second half compared to what he did in the first half, making the run in Australia, winning, I think it was Dubai, and making the final in Belgrade. From a rankings perspective, he had the biggest jump, but I think Norrie completely comes out of nowhere. And the biggest feather in his cap to me is he won a big title. Making a run is great, but I think I was kind of on the fence. And once Norrie won Indian Wells, to me, that felt like a wrap that he deserves most improved.
Okay. Steven, what do you think?
Yeah, both great points. I was originally probably leaning at Karatsev, but I was also agreeing with Gill. Like they just moved from different positions. Like, I don't know, Karatsev moved from like wherever he was, like 150, 200 to up. And it's just easier to climb ranking spots at that level. Everyone knows that. But to go from like 25 or wherever, 30, wherever, or was it like 40 where Norrie was at the beginning?
Yeah, I think it was 40, I think. It was around
to go from that to where he is now. And I think the way he did it, because he doesn't have these like obvious kind of athletic ability like some of the other top guys that like, because I remember watching him, I was like, oh, this guy's doing pretty well at 50 in the world for what he's kind of got with his game, with his forehand, with his backhand, with his athletic. Like he doesn't look like a physical beast out there. No offense, Cam Norrie, again, friend of the show. I'm like, it's just like, I think he's really squeezing the absolute most out of his game or his body, and then his game has his way that he's gotten better is so like subtle, but it's made obviously such a big impact, and it's really cool to watch. And hopefully it gives hope to a lot of other players who are like, I'm not going to grow an extra 6 inches. I'm not going to look like Rafa Nadal ever in my life physically, but you can be pretty damn good and win a Masters 1000, which was like, I think that's the sealer. I agree, Gil, that that's a big time. That's a huge title, right, to win.
Yeah.
And that shows really how far he's come.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you. I think when you make a good point about Karatsev, I agree, though. I think his second half was a bit weak. Same with Ruud. Ruud was the other way around. I felt like the first half of his year wasn't fantastic. Second year, he came on a lot stronger, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Cam Norrie, I thought was really consistent throughout the whole year. Made some good runs at some of the Grand Slams as well. Obviously, last 16 at Wimbledon, winning Indian Wells, getting to a few finals as well. So I thought he was really, really impressive, and not just biased because I'm a Brit, but I thought, yeah, similar to what Stephen said as well about him getting the most out of his ability. I think he's definitely squeezing. It's really impressive, I think. And he does seem to be improving, not just in terms of consistency, but also his game. But I just think it's not as noticeable because, as you guys have said, he doesn't have huge weapons, to be fair.
Yeah, it's really, I could do a whole nother, I actually did do a video on it, but I could do a whole nother video just thinking about it because I've thought about it a lot. So I'm like, I don't think he's really changed anything. Like, I mean, we got to keep this, we got to get to the next things I know, but yeah, I don't think he really changed much or technically with his game. Like he got more, I think he gets more, I think it's just a lot of confidence and just like knowing how to play with the shots he has. Like he really takes the ball up the line so much better than he was. And that's, to me, that makes everyone not cheat. And his forehand, he can go up the line or cross court so deadly both ways. It's pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's definitely more comfortable in his game, for sure. And so he knows what he needs to do, doesn't go for shots a lot of the time when he knows he can't make them. So yeah, agreed 100%. Most disappointing player of the year. It's okay, don't worry. I'll hide it in the timestamps. Stephen, we'll go with you first. Do you have someone in mind?
It's hard. Not because I don't want to harp on anyone, because I'm fine to do that. Like I think maybe Shapovalov I would put there because I'm Canadian. He's Canadian, obviously. And I was so proud of and I'm still so proud of him. I'm not disappointed in him at all. I just thought of as the year that he could have had, it maybe was a bit disappointing. Wimbledon was amazing. It was disappointing he didn't take that first set off Djokovic. He absolutely should have. But and he knows that, and that's why he was so depressed afterwards, I think. But then after that, after Wimbledon, he even said to me in press conferences, he just said, "Yeah, I don't really have any goals for the rest of the year." And that was like halfway through the year. He literally said that. He's like, "I don't have any goals." And then he later on at the end of the year in Stockholm, when he arguably should have won that tournament, he said, he's like, "I lost my way there after Wimbledon. I lost motivation because I thought that was going to be the highest part of my year." And I was like, that's just kind of a weird mentality to be at. I guess maybe it's a weird mentality to be at when you're that high in the game. He was like 11 or 10 in the world, and you have the ability to beat anyone on tour. It's weird to not have. And then coming into the Rogers Cup or the Canadian Open, didn't play well there. He didn't play well at the U.S. Open, really. And I think you can mark that down to like a mental checkout, and he kind of admitted to that. So that was disappointing for me, but he's 22 or whatever, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, anticlimax for sure. Gill, what about you?
I totally agree with that. I was really confounded by a lot of the things Shapo said after Wimbledon. It didn't make much sense to me. So I don't know. He needs to, hopefully he can have a more ambitious mindset moving forward that kind of matches his talent level. Because I think he has the ability to do that. Most disappointing player for me, it's not his fault, but it's Dominic Thiem. If you just look at what the year was versus what it could have been, or maybe what we expected it to be, that was disappointing. And again, obviously this award comes with the connotation of you should have been better. And I don't know if that's really true for Thiem. He can't control the injury, the mental stuff I sympathize with. And a lot of different players have dealt with that, but at the end of the day, he's my pick for this.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fanny?
Yeah, I agree with Gill. Dominic Thiem. The fact that he had such a good 2019 and 20, you'd expect him this year to get to at least Grand Slam finals. But as Gill said, obviously he had an injury and mental issues as well. So yeah, disappointed that I don't think he wasn't even in the ATP Tour final, was he? Didn't, and because of his injury. So yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully he's back next year.
Yeah, he was supposed to play the exhibition tournament going on now, but he pulled out, said he wasn't ready. So I'm assuming we'll see him Australian Open.
He'll be back.
Yeah, agreed. I've got a couple here. Off the top of my head, Schwartzman. I thought he had a really good year. A couple of years, last 2 years. Obviously, came out of the top 10. So yeah, I thought that was pretty disappointing. Probably didn't play as well as he could have. Highlight was probably taking a set off Nadal, but then got crushed after that set. And hasn't really shown much.
Was that disappointing? Did we actually expect anything different?
No. No. But I think he's just kind of has insult to injury. That
Yeah.
he took a set and then he just got destroyed. And then Alex de Minaur as well. I thought he was really disappointing. So he was if I'm not mistaken, he was in the top 25 last year, and now he's dropped out. I don't know if he'll be seeded in the Australian Open. I could be wrong.
He had a weird year.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he have COVID and that like affected him?
I think he has had it. I don't know about it affecting him, to be fair. But
I thought he said, or people were speculating. I don't know, but yeah, whatever.
A lot of players, it hasn't been rare, unfortunately. Like a good amount of players have suffered poor results after COVID. And that's something that people weren't even talking about when Medvedev couldn't win a match on clay, is that he had COVID and was in a bed for 10 days.
Yeah. I know Dimitrov had long COVID as well, didn't he? He said he was struggling with it a lot. That was like one of the bigger ones. Sorry. Happy to go Dominic team. So I think Vanny and Gill, you both went for him. So
yeah, I put it in for Dominic team as well. It was he could have had a year where it was like 2 slams. Like he could have been the second best player beside Djokovic, or the best player to be honest. It just didn't materialize. But off 2020, I was very bullish on Dominic team.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's made a lot of finals, to be fair, and then won the US Open final in a very weird way. But yeah, disappointing to say the least. Let's see how he comes back. I guess it'll take him at least a quarter of the season to get back to anywhere near the level he was at, if at all. So that's keep an eye on that, I guess. Young Player of the Year. This is an exciting one. Vanny, do you want to go?
It's a Casper Ruud. I think I've been very impressed by him. I think he's only 22. So how young are we talking?
23 and under.
I think he's actually like 24, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Wait a second. We can do 24 and under. It's fine. Don't worry. I didn't really specify, to be fair, so that's understandable.
No, he's 22. Never mind.
Back to 23. No, Gill, what about you?
Carlos Alcaraz kind of announced himself this year at the tour level and had an incredible finish to the year, first title in Umag. And I mean, he's going to be a rocket ship. So I'll go with him.
Yeah. Stephen?
I'd say Alcaraz. Alcaraz he's so potent. It's insane. He's 18. I would say Alcaraz with a runner-up to Jensen Brooksby and Holger Rune. Because Holger Rune, I think he went up like 450 spots in 2021. I think that's actually the highest climb out of anyone, which is pretty crazy.
That is crazy. I've got Brooksby was on my list as one potential sinner as well. Although he had a bit of a kind of up and down, but I felt like it was, especially the ATP Tour Finals. I thought he was really good, and Ruud made the semi-finals of that event as well. But he had a good back end, won more titles than Alcaraz, but I think Alcaraz had the more notable wins potentially, which is why I'm happy to go with him. Had Korda there as well, but I thought he was a little bit hot and cold. But I feel like he's definitely pushing on. Alcaraz. Happy to go with Alcaraz. I love Alcaraz. Doesn't like being called Baby Nadal, so nobody call him that. He says he's.
When do you think he'll win a Grand Slam?
Sorry?
When do you think he'll win his first Grand Slam? Next year?
Good question. Should we go around quickly? I think next is too early. Go on, Steve. What do you think?
This is a great. Oh, when is he win his first slam? Not next year. Maybe the year after, I think, or 2 or 3 years after. I think. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be a plateauing, which is common. Funny thing that I've noticed, it's like a phenomenon. People immediately, kind of like more high level people said, "Oh, he's the next Nadal." He said he plays like Federer, and then Djokovic fans are obsessed with him playing like Djokovic. It's like the funniest thing ever. Like, has anyone else seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. It's very funny. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is ridiculous.
The whole thing. It's very funny. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. Actually, I think 2023. I think Alcaraz wins the Slam in 23.
Okay. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, 2023. I think that's a good shot.
Would Australian Open be his? Gil, what do you think? Would Australian Open fast court be his number one?
Yeah, I think physically. I mean, he's amazing physically, but there's a lot of contenders on the clay. Yes, I would say yes. But remember, the U.S. Open's also been really fast recently.
True.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, this year was like ridiculously fast compared to what it was previous years, wasn't it? That's when Nadal loved it. Probably a good thing he didn't play it. To be fair,
There's definitely. Sorry to interrupt there. There's definitely some over, I guess, putting him into the clay quarter box. There's no doubt about that because he's offensively absolutely elite in terms of his forehand and even his willingness to come forward and finish with drop shots. Like he just can't hit spots on his serve yet. And once he can do that, that'll really help him on the quicker surfaces. Other than that, like he's not going to be a clay court oriented player, really.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I think
I straight up asked him that in the presser at the end of the year. And I said, "What do you like better?" And he said, "Yeah, fast courts."
Yeah. I agreed. His serve is like in terms of MPH has definitely improved, but as Gill said, he hasn't really hit his spots in a lot of occasions. But he was serving near the 140 mark when I was watching him in the US Open, which I thought was like, whoa, like you don't look like you're a pocket rocket, but you are. And I feel like Casper Ruud's probably got more of a chance at maybe Roland Garros on the clay. I feel like he's someone who might challenge in not maybe next year, but in a few years' time.
Remember, Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas has just been getting better and better. He's a monster on clay right now.
Monster,
yeah. Zverev's not bad either, to be fair.
Just thinking about it, it might be the most competitive tournament going forward for the next few years. You got Djokovic, Nadal, Zverev, Tsitsipas, Team, Alcaraz, Ruud. Who I could all see doing serious damage there. It used to be one guy and everyone else trying. At least it used to be the least competitive.
Yes, 100%. Okay, that leaves us to the last category for the ATP, which is best player of the year. Gil, I'll go with you first.
Novak Djokovic comes up one match short of the Grand Slam and really dominates kind of at every corner when it comes to what the storylines were this year, what everyone was excited about, what everyone was looking for. Finishes year-end number one for the 7th time, passes Pete Sampras, broke the record for most weeks at number one as well. I thought even the run to the US Open final was an impressive run in itself, and that was the least successful run at majors for him. Gets through the injury in Australia, beats Nadal at Roland Garros, reigns completely supreme at Wimbledon. He's player of the year.
Yeah, fair enough. Vinny?
Agreed. Has to go to Novak.
Yeah. Not Zverev. I mean, he technically won the most titles. I'm joking. Steve, what do
you're gonna get? That's called social suicide. On Twitter, if you say anything. I posed the question was who is the best player after the US Open, like in that final part of the season. I got roasted for even saying that, for even mentioning that. But Djokovic, absolutely player of the year. I thought he won the Australian Open, which was an amazing feat based on all the drama that went down there with that. And then then the season could have gone any way, right? Like if he had lost the French, it would have just been like, oh, another year. But then him winning the French, beating Nadal to win the French made it a whole nother. Then we're like, oh, he's obviously winning Wimbledon. Not obvious. Like everyone, it was a quite wide margin for him winning Wimbledon. And it's like that's when the calendar slam really came into play. And yeah, absolutely. It was Djokovic versus everyone this year, and he was the center of every single storyline, player of the year.
Yeah, agree. Now Djokovic wins QualityShot's best player of the year in the inaugural tournament, and I will send him a DM to let him know so that he can thank me after as well. Yeah, he'll be stoked. He will be. He really will. Let's move on to the WTA then. Grand Slam match of the year. Vinny, do you want to go first?
Yes. Well, Grand Slam match of the year has to be in the Roland Garros semi-final. It's Sakari. I remember watching this. I think we watched it together. Sakari and Krejcikova.
Yeah,
that was a quality game, and the power of Sakari didn't really couldn't get over Krejcikova there, and I think there was quite a comeback there as well. It was 9-7 in the tiebreak as well.
She was 5-3 up. She was 5-3 up, and Krejcikova saved a match point as well.
Oh yeah,
I think
we watched that together, didn't we?
Mhm.
That was really good
yeah,
match.
quality, very dramatic. Gill.
Leylah Fernandez versus Alina Svitolina at the U.S. Open for me. That was perfect. I just can't imagine a more perfect quarterfinal match. With Svitolina having just so much trauma at the majors in her career, and Fernandez obviously on the heels of what was already at that point a fairy tale run, with the crowd absolutely adoring her, and Svitolina playing really good aggressive tennis. Both women were just so bold and aggressive, and there were no nerves there even, and it was kind of weird because it was like, why aren't you two playing really nervous and poorly right now? Because it would make sense if they were, but this was awesome. Third set tiebreak, and Fernandez comes through in classic epic gritty warrior fashion.
Agreed. Stephen.
Yeah, match. I'm just all I can see is Leylah's run, so I'm trying to pick the best match out of that run.
Sabalenka was good.
Canadian, but
I thought Sabalenka match was really good.
Sabalenka, I thought that was too, because I was like, to me in my mind, I was watching that, I was like, okay, yeah, pretty crazy that she's beaten Kerber, Svitolina, and Osaka. This is where it ends, just because of that math. It just makes sense. Like if you were betting on it, it's just like there's no way. And yeah, it was another one where she just figured out a way, like with smart tennis, and it's like she had the whole U.S. crowd eating out of the palm of her hand, which was just, I thought, amazing. My quote, my saying was, Leylah runs New York. I think it's going to continue. It was insane. I think the final though was pretty cool. Like I haven't been that amped up for like a young like this, just like, because it's the, I don't know why I was like trying to explain to people over and over and over, being like, Emma Raducanu, no player has ever won a slam qualifying. Like this is like the first time ever something has happened. And then it was Leylah, and then it was just two absolute stars were born in that tournament, basically. So I think maybe the final.
In the final, okay. I've got here is a couple of notes. Osaka Muguruza in the Australian Open 4th round. It was 3 sets. It was really, really good match. From what I remember, Osaka went on to win that tournament, obviously, but said that was her toughest match. I think in that tournament, Barty Pliskova was okay, but I thought Barty kind of maybe didn't play her best level there. So I'm happy to go Fernandez Svitolina. It's a little bit of sentimental value because I was watching with family, and my sister was going absolutely ballistic. She's a massive fan of Svitolina, and she likes Fernandez as well, but she's liked Svitolina for years, and it was her. Her head was buried in her hands for a lot of that final set, and they kept on breaking each other. Svitolina serving for the match, and then Fernandez breaking back, and it was a fantastic match. But it could easily go to Krejcikova, Sakari, or Fernandez, Sabalenka as well. So I'll stick with the quarterfinal, Fernandez and Svitolina. And then WTA Match of the Year. Stephen, do you want to go first?
This is gonna be, maybe someone else go first. I don't have this set yet. I
Go
want
on,
to hear what other people's ideas are.
No worries.
Yeah, I put Badosa Azarenka Indian Wells final. Really, a really, really good clash there. Obviously, everything you want in tension, quality, a final, one of the biggest WTA sanctioned events of the year. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I thought it was great ball striking, like one of the best matches I've seen in terms of ball striking all year. Venny?
I've gone for the 4th round of the Miami Open. Maria Sakkari saving 6 match points against Jessica Pegula. That was a really, really great comeback from Sakkari there. And I've gone for that one.
Okay.
Now remembering that one, I'd say that one as well. The Pegula Sakkari match was just, of the matches I saw, I'm not able to see every single match, obviously, but I think from ones I watched, that was definitely the highest level. Insane drama. Also love the Miami tournament. So I don't know. Yeah, to me, I'll do that one.
Yeah, call out. You covered it before, haven't you? Let's go with that. I thought that was a good match with Sakkari and Pegula. I did have Badosa Azarenka, but for the ease of time, and I think that was also the saving of 6 match points. I thought that was really good. Most exciting tournament of the year. This is really quick. Should we quickly go around? Venny?
I'll put the French Open.
Okay, fair enough. Gill?
U.S. Open. I think the upsets, the crowds, the environment, the Layla run, the Emma run. It was one of the best women's tournaments, probably the best that I've ever experienced.
Yeah, same, Stephen.
U.S. Open. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think Venny, there's a bit of a bias because you did a lot of the streams to the French Open, but you're not much of a late sleeper, and I was in Canada, so I was able to do a lot of the streams. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
that might be why. But I thought, yeah, the US Open probably the best women's tournament I've seen since I've been a wee little lad. So yeah, I think I will give it to that one. Upset of the year though. Should we go? Gill, do you want to go first?
Upset?
Yep.
Yeah, Rogers over Barty in New York,
Okay.
which is an upset that most people, when it comes to the U.S. Open, they don't talk about it as much because Shelby was absolutely gassed in the next round and lost very easily. But like Barty had really been the best player in the world throughout the season, and it was kind of the end of the road for her year. You knew she was going to go back to Australia. I just did not see in any world Shelby Rogers beating Ash Barty there, and Shelby did it, comeback fashion, with again an amazing environment, the U.S. Open crowd behind her, and that was the stunner. So I'm going to go with that one.
Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to argue. I would say though, Leila Annie beating Sabalenka, just because I don't know.
Okay.
I thought Sabalenka was playing so well in that tournament, and it's like it seemed like it was her time to finally. I don't know what her set. She's never won a slam though.
No.
And I thought it was like, oh, she. And to be fair, if she looked at that draw that she had beating Fernandez and then Raducanu, she's probably kicking herself that she didn't win that U.S. Open. So
yeah.
I thought she was a heavy favorite there, and Leila after already doing three set matches in a row versus legends. To be able to find more energy and more ability to work through that was, to me, it was amazing. And it was an extremely big upset.
Yeah, she's never made a Grand Slam final. She's made her first Grand Slam semi-finals this year. I think it was at Wimbledon. She lost to Pliskova, and then at the US Open against Fernandez. I've put Fernandez Osaka, but I know Osaka was going through a little bit then as well. So maybe that needs to be catered in, to be fair. So I'm happy to go Fernandez Sabalenka. Venny, what about you?
I was going to go for Naomi Osaka. The fact that she wasn't able to defend the US Open title, and the fact that she was serving for the match in the second set, and I know it was against Leila Fernandez, who was the eventual finalist, but it was quite sad to see that she wasn't happy anymore after the press conference. So upset of the year, I think, for me.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think process of numbers will go Fernandez Sabalenka US Open semi-final, but yeah, I take on board the Rogers Barty one was a really good match. I remember watching that, and same with the Fernandez Osaka one as well. To be fair, funniest moment of the year. This is an interesting one. Venny, do you want to go first?
I couldn't find anything, so I'll leave it to you guys.
Fair enough, Gill.
Yeah, I also left this one blank. I know that. Yeah, I mean, but I do have this vague memory. I feel like there was a pretty funny fight. I think Ostapenko was involved, which is not surprising.
Ostapenko
and I just can't remember.
Matteo Berrettini is with the Australian. What's her name? I've forgotten. Who beat Raducanu? Tomljanovic. Yeah, Tomljanovic and Ostapenko. They got into spat. That was quite funny.
Yeah, that was a little funny.
Gill's only a little bit.
Only a little bit.
I'm happy to go with that. No, it was singles. It was at. I'm pretty sure it was at. I want to say early rounds of Wimbledon. Early rounds of Wimbledon, I think
so.
I'll have a look on YouTube after.
It's also funny because Tomljanovic is the most mild-mannered player on tour, who's so affable and easy to get along with, and Ostapenko is the opposite in every way. And it was kind of Tomljanovic spitting venom at Ostapenko, which was pretty great.
Yeah, there was some interesting words at the press conference. Stephen?
I don't know. Like recently, again, there wasn't that many. I didn't think there was, it wasn't a particularly comical year. But maybe Venus. The rumors of Venus Williams dating Riley Opelka, and just like the amount of jokes that were going around on social media from both of them messing with fans and stuff like that. I thought was pretty funny. But that's all I can think of.
Fair enough. Yeah, let's go. Tomjanovic Ostapenko spat. I thought that was mildly amusing, to be fair. Most improved player of the year. There's going to be quite a few candidates here. So, shall we go to you, Vanu, first?
I'm going for Krejcikova. She's had a very impressive year. So, gone for her.
Yeah,
did she get to the top 10? Didn't she win a Grand Slam? Or she
won the French Open.
Won the
French Open final. Yeah.
Yeah.
And had some deep runs as well, and made the top 10, to be fair, of WTA rankings. I think she's only been playing singles, I want to say 2-3 years, because I know she's a serial doubles winner. Gill, what about you?
Yeah, she's the easy choice for me. I mean, especially if you bring doubles into play, where she won the tour finals with Siniakova, won the French Open and the Olympics also with Siniakova. And her stretch from, I think it was Lyon, the tournament before Roland Garros, which she won. Then she won in Paris. And until then, there was like 2 months went by. She either won a title, won the tournament, or lost to the eventual champion for like a 2-month stretch. It was insane, considering where she came from. Basically, someone who I hadn't watched even play before 2021. Easily the most improved player.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yeah, I'll agree. Yeah, improved can be like, what level did you go from to where you got to? And maybe Raducanu like always had that potential. The fact that she had never won a WTA match is insane. Like it's kind of hard to, like, that's from like 0 to 100, like literally real quick. But then Leilani Fernandez, you'd also have to throw in there, I think. But Barbara Krejcikova, yeah, like you guys said, going from like a nobody on singles to winning the French Open, pretty crazy. So yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I had Fernandez and Raducanu as honorable mentions. Badosa as well. I thought she had a really good year. Made the top 10 in the end. Kontaveit as well. I thought she had a really good. She made the final, the WTA finals, and had a really good end to the year, breaking into the top 10. And it clicked, but I don't think she was super consistent throughout the whole year. She just went on an incredible run. So yeah, happy to go Krejcikova. And what a surprise that was for the French Open, which, to be fair, we've had a few of them in the women's game in the last 4 or 5 years at the French Open, but that was an impressive one. Most disappointing player of the year. Stephen, do you want to take it?
Probably Bianca Andreescu for me, just because it's actually like, it's not comical. It's like, I don't know. It's insane that, to me, like the mismanagement of her career. I'm just gonna say, like, at this point, to me, it's like pretty obvious mismanagement of her career for the last year and a half. Not saying like, and again, this is no panic. Like, she's gonna figure it out. She's 20. She's only 20 years old, which is crazy. She won the U.S. Open at 18. But yeah, I think she's a top 3 player in the WTA. But she's been absolutely mismanaged by her coaches. Tennis Canada, I don't know how involved Tennis Canada is anymore, but just like the lack of playing, the amount of injuries, I just don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think you can win the US Open with a body and then it'd be that faulty afterwards if you were doing everything correctly. I know this is pretty, like, it's a harsh opinion, but it's because I know that it can be different, and I think it will. Again, it's like she's not going to the Australian Open. Some people are speculating that because she didn't take the vaccine. I don't know, but it's just like weird. I don't know. So it's disappointing based on like how much potential she has, and I think everyone knows that when she's at her best, she's like, arguably one of the hardest players to beat. And it's just disappointing that it keeps coming up. It's getting weird how it's like always one thing. It's like the Miami Open final. It's like twisted her toe or something. It's just like, what? Like, it doesn't happen to anyone else. Like, no one else on the men's or women's gets injured that much. And she's such a big name, and she's Canadian. To me, that's the most disappointing. But it's because I love you, Bianca, and I know that your potential is there. Don't take it the wrong way, because I know you're watching QualityShot.
Yeah, she's watching the videos. Tough love from a fellow Canadian. Gil, what about you?
Yeah, that's a good pick. Mine is I'm gonna go with an American in Sonia Kennan, who began the year at number 1 and completely physically and emotionally burnt out, and was an absolute mess the entire year. Split up with her father as her head coach, and then is now back with him. I'm just I'm looking for some directive, and I'm hoping that she can get back to where she was for what is now really a brief period. But I do really enjoy watching her on the court, her grit, her skill set with her hands, especially on the backhand side. I'm just hoping that she can be happy on the court again. She certainly wasn't this year.
Agreed, Vanny?
Yeah, I agree with Stephen actually with Bianca and Jessica. I think she's had a disappointing year, and interesting what Stephen has to say about her being mismanaged, which was quite interesting to hear.
Yeah, so you have to do a video on it, Stephen.
Well, I should. It's like I don't want to come off as ignorant because it's not like any of us really know what's been happening because that's intentional, obviously. But I think at such a if she was 75 in the world, you wouldn't really care. But she's clearly has the potential to be like winning a slam every year, and with the higher stakes becomes the higher scrutiny. And it's like if she was British, for example, I think it would be insane what people were saying in newspapers and stuff like that. It's Canada though, so no one really cares, and everyone's nice here, so they're all like, "Oh, she's figuring it out. She's figuring it out." But it's like I'm not even mad at her. It's like she's 18. She shouldn't really have to be the one managing her career. She has like super experienced coaches and people around her and managers, and it's I don't know what's happened, but the results show that something is either she's the unluckiest tennis player in history, or there's been something's gone awry somewhere. But the fact she's still here, it's not like her career's been wasted or anything. It's just like it could have. I mean, and there's a pandemic, so you gotta. I don't know if you can mishandle a pandemic because it's like everyone's first tried it, but it's been weird.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I think I had Andreescu Kennan, and off the top of my head, actually, a bit harsh, but Johanna Konta, who retired obviously at the end of this year, but I thought she had a pretty disappointing year. And I'm not quite sure where she looked like she was going to win a slam a couple of years back, and just completely fell off a cliff, I think. But I wouldn't go with her, but I think she's just a mention.
See, that's the British. That's the British.
Yeah, I agree. Right, that's
really?
the British
Okay.
press being very tough. Clearly she's done with the sport. And
okay, Piers Morgan.
Fair enough. Let's go Bianca Andreescu on that note. I don't want to be tagged Piers Morgan.
In Canada, the equivalent of that is just like, hey, maybe it could have been done better. People would be like, oh my gosh, that's so harsh what you just said.
Yeah.
I was like, possibly there could have been better options.
Yeah, possibly. Young player of the year, and then only a few options. Vanny?
I wonder who could this. I wonder. Emma. It has to be Emma Raducanu.
Yeah,
has to be.
Has to.
Gill?
Emma.
Well,
Clara Towson. No, I'm joking.
Clara Towson.
Emma.
Player. Emma
Sorry,
Raducanu, unseeded player to win the US Open. Is that right?
Yeah, first qualifier. Yeah.
First qualifier.
Yeah. Wow, it's impressive.
Yeah.
That's
the easy
what's
one.
that the equivalent of on the men's side? Is that the equivalent of like Holger Rune winning the US Open?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it?
How about Boris Becker back in the day?
Yeah.
He wasn't a qualifier, was he? I'm not sure.
No,
I'm not going to act like I know what Boris Becker
unseeded.
was like when he was like 17. I don't
unseeded.
know if he was like this crazy touted prospect, but
no, I think in the men's side, I don't know. It's difficult.
it's apples to oranges because I think the men's side is less able to be broken through.
It would have been Alcaraz. What was Alcaraz's first slam main draw? I know he played Australia to start this year. I think that might have been it. It would have been like Carlos winning that
Australia,
because I
it
do
would
think
have been like him winning the Australia. Yeah. Which if that had happened, like our brains would have all popped, like exploded. So it would be like we wouldn't be here. We'd be
frenzy
in a hospital or something.
Fair enough.
Do you think?
Right, it's Emma. Go on.
Do you think Emma is going to win a Grand Slam next year?
I would like it
I
to,
would-
but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Why?
There'll be a lull like there was with Andreescu, I think.
I just think it's hard, and she's probably not there yet. In all likelihood, she's going to need to manage the mental side more than anything. She will never be able to replicate the mindset and the lack of pressure that and the ignorance is bliss factor that she had at the US Open. She's going to have to learn how to play with expectation, with fame, and all the things that come with that. And I think that should take a while.
Agreed. Yeah. Expectations definitely changed. Yeah. What do you think? Same, Stephen?
Wait, just
As in, do you agree about her not winning a slam next year?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's everything Gill said is correct. Like the US, I never want to be someone who critiques a draw, because on the men's side, people do that all the time and they go debates, whatever. But like all of her matches in that US Open were not like, I don't think she had any like massive ups. Like she didn't play anyone like Fernandez played, not taking anything away from her winning, but it was a doable draw, even though she qualified, and that's still crazy. But you're right. Like she'll never again play with that much freedom. Yeah, it's just, and she has the game to win more slams eventually, but time will tell. Like, honestly, I don't know. I've told other people, there's so many examples of girls who have won their first slam and then really dropped off, unfortunately. So that's just the trend. Ostapenko, Sloane Stephens, Madison Keys, Bianca Andreescu. Who am I missing? I don't know. There's others, I think, but it's just a trend. Hopefully she can buck it, but it's just so much pressure, and you get $3 million now, and it's just like your life is completely changed. Like it's like you could just quit and live out the rest of your life for fun, and maybe that's what some people like kind of want to do. I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. And then best player of the year, Gill, should you first?
That's a tough one.
It is tough. I still feel like if you cut doubles out of it, which I think we are, I still think it's Ash Barty, who wins Wimbledon and wins, I believe it was 3 Masters 1000s titles. I know Madrid she won, Cincinnati she won, and I feel like there was a third. Yes, and Miami. There you go. So 3 Masters titles, and I feel like, after 2020, where she was out of action for most of the year, and people began to question her status very unfairly as the world number 1, I feel like this year she very much stamped her mark as the best player in the world. And I really do feel like she has what a lot of other women just don't have in terms of athleticism and firepower and consistency, all in combination.
Yeah, well said, Stephen.
Well said, Gill. I love that athleticism point, because she does have that. We all know about her golf skills, but like I think it's just like a well-rounded athlete that could play a bunch of different sports. There's a shocking amount of tennis players who aren't like that. Like if you threw them a soccer ball, they would like trip. Like it would be it's preposterous. So, and yeah, I think every year there's someone on the men's and women's who's like the house, like basically the mark that every other tennis player tries to live up to. And I feel that Ash Barty was quite obviously the mark for like, or like the house for the women's side this year. It just seemed like she was like the final boss. Whenever you looked at a draw, you're like, is she ever going to crack? Like she seemed very consistent this year. Yeah, to me, it's player of the year to Ash Barty.
Yeah, she also played professional cricket for a franchise, which you guys, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but yeah, she played a whole year. Bennu will like that. But yeah, she played for Big Bash, which is like a franchise tournament in Australia with all the best players. So she did pretty well as well, to be honest. She took a break from tennis when she was a bit younger and played here there. So shows she's got multiple facets. And impressive.
How old is she now? She did like retire from tennis, didn't she? Or she like just went
to
cricket?
That's
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I want to say 24, 25. 25.
And she's like a professional golfer too. So like that's just
crazy. Yeah. Vanu, what about you?
Yeah, I have to go with Ash Barty. Well, she won Wimbledon as well. And so yeah, Ash Barty, very impressive player.
Yeah, 5 titles in the year. So Ash Barty wins our WTA Best Player of the Year. And then the Best Player of the Year combined. So for the men's and women's side, and it's probably relatively easy, I'd imagine. But let's see. Venny, who have you picked?
Novak. And I think he's probably next year going to win at least 2 out of the 4 Grand Slams.
Okay. Early prediction. Like it. Gill?
Ooh.
Yeah, Novak with a much more dominant year than Barty, despite Ash's successes. So I agree.
Yeah, Stephen.
Roger Federer. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Novak
Most
Djokovic.
popular player. We should have had that.
Goat.
Already won that one day because he won that, didn't he?
I have
From
a
ATP.
tweet queued up about that coming out, but I'm like nervous to send it. But yeah, Novak Djokovic. He's the house money for everyone. The biggest dog out there right now. He's just doing it. He's the guy. So very interested for 2022, as I always am. I always think the next year is going to be the best year in tennis, but I think 2022 is going to be saucy with all the young guys.
That's a good way to live your life, Stephen.
Yeah, we'll be 50 years old next year.
I was thinking that in 2019 going into 2020, and boy, were we disappointed. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I feel like there is a tipping point coming at some point in the men's game, but we shall see. Thanks very much, guys, for being on. We appreciate that's all the awards. Is there anything any of you want to touch on before we wrap up? No. Covered everything. Everyone's really happy.
But in terms of comeback, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stephen.
No, go ahead, Vanny. I was just going to make a joke.
In terms of comeback of the year, obviously Andy Murray, you got to have a shout out from his injury, having now fake metal hips. And on the women's side, you've got Carla Suarez Navarro. I think she's coming back from cancer. And she's
great, amazing.
Playing now, which is amazing achievement and good on her. So yeah, thought I'd mention that.
Fire away the joke, Stephen. Go on.
Well, I forgot it now, but yeah, Andy Murray's run it was funny. Like I was able to be in a lot of the press conferences through the end of the season, and some weeks it was just me and all these like British journalists like questioning everything Andy did, and it was just funny to see. It was really cool to see as like a diehard tennis fans, like his process of like believing in himself, because literally it was like from week to week he was going, yeah, he's like, I'm already competing with these best players in the world. And it's funny because best player, like you put him on like Djokovic, Federer. He was talking about best players in the world, like Hurkacz, like that's one of the best players in the world. And he's like, I'm competing, I'm gonna start winning, and I'll answer all of your guys' questions. And then he just did start beating those guys. And then he's like, yeah, it was cool. It was really cool to see his like process of getting back to it. And I think he could. I don't know what you guys would expect. I mean, we all got to go, but 2022 for Andy Murray, I think he could be like top 10. I don't know.
Oh wow, I'm top 20.
I predicted him in top 10.
I
predicted him in the top 10 for 2021, and obviously he just wasn't healthy. But I maintain the fact that if Andy's going to be healthy on the court, I think he should get back into the top 10. You don't forget and you don't lose the things that once got you there. It just doesn't go away. So
yeah, I think he started to mold his game into a slightly more attacking. I think strategy wise, it's definitely slightly more attacking. He's going for more balls down the line, especially on the backhand side as well. I think he backs himself, takes the drive forehand early in a lot of instances as well. So I think he realizes he can't grind as much as he used to. So I think that was going to take time. I think we're starting to see it. So hopefully, I hope you guys are right.
Yeah, I could talk about that forever. Like he had interesting takes about that as well, talking about how people are just like, oh, you should just be more aggressive, like for his style. And he's like, well, that's like that doesn't really mean like that doesn't really mean. I love the way he says things. He's like, that doesn't really mean anything. He's like, I think he also got to, like, he doesn't want to be grinding as much. I don't think Djokovic, but I think Murray got to a place where he was actually comfortable doing these long points and grinding if he had to. Whereas earlier in 2021, if he had a few of those in a match, it was kind of toast. Like he was just like gassed after that. So I think he's physically ready to not have that be like a hindrance of his success in 2022. And I think, I agree with Gill. Top 10.
Yeah, that's a Federer quote, by the way. Someone asked him about shortening points, and he's like, well, you have to be willing. You don't need to want to play them, but you have to be willing to play them.
Well said.
Oh, yeah. Like the longer points.
Yeah. He said even if I don't want to play shorter points, I can never get in a mindset where I'm not willing to.
Right.
Yeah. No, agreed. Well, any last words before we wrap up?
No, not really. Just enjoyed this discussion. It's been really good. And bring on 2022. I think Stephen's predicting a really close one and maybe a tipping point in the men's game, potentially.
Yeah.
It's just time. Cool. It's just pressure of time, right? I was saying the same thing in 2018 going into. I was like, oh, this is the year when the next gen come. But looking back, hindsight's 2020. Like those next gen players were like 21. So it actually made like no sense for them to break through then, really. You're just hoping for that. Now they're all 24-ish. And yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 guys who could win, have a really good shot at winning each slam. So it'll be and Djokovic has less of an advantage, I think, than he ever has, but still an advantage. But I don't know. We'll see.
Love it some butts.
Or Nadal comes back and
cleans up.
Yeah.
Or Federer comes back and wins all 4 slams and cements his place.
Exactly. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who knows?
Exactly.
Or Murray wins the slam.
Murray wins all 4 slams.
Yeah, and then I quit my job, and then it's just like we're good.
Exactly. Thanks, guys, for coming on the inaugural awards. Guys, please remember to check out Stephen the Slice Tennis on YouTube and also Twitter, Stephen Broughton, I think. Hopefully I haven't butchered your surname. And Gill Gross as well. So Gill Gross on YouTube. And I think it's Gill Gross on Twitter as well. Gill_Gross, is it?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Gill_Gross.
And you can follow Venu at QualityShot. And you can follow me there as well. So don't need to do too much. Just like and subscribe and get involved in those guys' channels as well, because they've got some really interesting videos, as you can imagine, from their expert opinion. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. And I'll see you on the next video.
See y'all in 22.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
See ya.